এবং মুখ্যমন্ত্রী শ্রী নবীন পটনায়ক। Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have amongst us today eminent guests who have shared moments in the life of the tall man, Biju Patnaik. The book will be launched by Honorable Shri Pranab Mukherjee, former President of India, and our other eminent dignitaries, Shri H.D. Devegowda, former Prime Minister of India, Shri L.K. Advani, former Chairman, National Democratic Alliance, and Deputy Prime Minister of India, Shri Sitaram Yechuri, General Secretary, Communist Party Marxist. We have the honor of having with us one of the most prominent editor-journalists of India, Shri Prabhu Chawla, along with the writer of the book, Shri Sundar Ganesan. And now, I would request the dignitaries on stage and our respected guest today, sitting in the front, to kindly stand for Bande Utkala Janani.
Bande Utkala Janani, Bande Utkala Janani, Bande Utkala Janani. Charu bhasamai janani 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 Bande Utkala Janani. Bhuta payoti vibhauta sarira Tadata susobhita tira Subhratini kula sikara samira Janani 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 Bande Utkala Janani. Sundara mandira mandita desa Charu kala badi sobhita besa Punya tirtha jaya purna pradesa Janani 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 Bande Utkala Janani. Kavi kula mauri sunandana bandya Bhuvana vighosita kirti anindya Dhanne punne chira saranye Janani 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 Bande Utkala Janani. Bande Utkala Janani. Bande Utkala Janani.
Thank you, everyone. And now I invite the author of the book, The Tall Man, Biju Patnaik, Shri Sundar Ganesan, to speak about his experience in writing the book.
A very good evening to all of you. Honorable Chief Minister of Odisha, Honorable former President of India, Honorable former Prime Minister Mr. H.D. Devegowda, Honorable Mr. L.K. Advani ji, Honorable Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, and Padma Shri Mr. Prabhu Chawla, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to share this platform with all of you in this august occasion of the release of the book, The Tall Man, Biju Patnaik. I started my research with the great leader, K. Kamaraj, and I heard about the Kamaraj Plan. It was popularly called as K Plan as well. I was trying to get hold of a copy of this pamphlet, and I launched my search in Chennai, Delhi, and also in Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar because there was one All India Congress committee which took place here, and I was hoping to get at least here, but I drew a blank in all these places. And finally, I discovered this book in a library, in a university library in Toronto, Canada. And to my surprise, I found that the book was authored by none other than Biju Patnaik himself. You all know that Kamaraj's plan, under this plan, all the senior Congress leaders were supposed to resign who held high positions like the chief ministers, had to resign and take part in the party work to strengthen the party. Again, to my surprise, while the other senior Congress leaders were resigning, Biju Babu also resigned, even though he did not cross 50, he was in the mid-40s. Till date, why he resigned is lingering in my mind. Material related to Biju Patnaik has been scattered all over the world. I realized it's not available in one place, and I had to look for material in Indonesia, France, Germany, USA, UK, Russia, Singapore, the Netherlands, and so many other places. I'm not sure if I have done full justice by documenting the great personality, this tall man of Indian politics, but definitely I believe that it will fill the gaps of the authentic understanding of this tall personality. I would like to thank the Honorable Chief Minister and his family, especially his sister and brother-in-law, for providing me very important documents which has gone into this book. I'm indeed humbled that this book is being released in such a grandeur manner amidst great citizens of India. I would like to thank the Biju Patnaik Birth Centenary Celebrations Committee for publishing this book. Now, this book belongs to the people of Odisha and the people of India. Nothing can bring more happiness than seeing this book reaching the hands of people who Biju Patnaik loved till the last breath. Thank you very much.
And now I will request Honorable former President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, along with our eminent guest, to now launch the book, The Tall Man, Biju Patnaik. Thank you very much to all our dignitaries. And now I request a well-known editor-journalist, Shri Prabhu Chawla ji, to give his review speech on the book.
Respected former President Shri Pranab Mukherjee ji, respected former Prime Minister Shri Devegowda ji, respected Advani ji, Honorable Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik ji, and my dear friend Comrade Sitaram Yechuri, and distinguished guests, good evening to everybody. I am really honored and humbled to be present here at an event which is meant to release a book on a man who was less known outside than in the world. The book Tall Man, written by Ganeshan, is really a tribute to a man who was really a national leader but never got the national headlines. He was a tall man, yes, he was the tallest chief minister the state ever had. But his legacy, His legends extended beyond the boundaries of not only India, but many seas all over the country. When we talk about Biju Patnaik, we as a student of politics and journalists have been very, very unfair to a person like him. Because he was based in Bhubaneswar, therefore Delhi or prime-time television channels or newspapers never gave him the attention he deserved. Really, history will be unkind to us because we ignored a person who changed the face of India. Some personalities make history. Some personalities are made by history. Some personalities become history. Vijayananda Patnaik, fondly called as Biju Patnaik, is a historical personality who is the father of modern Odisha and the representative of eternal Kalinga. This beautifully produced book, named The Tall Man, containing rare photographs and lucid writing, captures the life and times of a great man who influenced not only India and Odisha but also rest of the world. Biju Babu was not just a tall man in his height. He was a colossus who straddled his resurgent state and free India. I have gone through the book. The book deals with different aspects of Biju Patnaik's personality. Biju, the flyer of freedom and independence. Here is the rare personality who was flying as a pilot, at the same time also participating in the independent movement. I never heard of a character who was flying Britishers, also flying Indian freedom fighters. This is a rare personality which is not known to the people in the world. Biju, the patriot who believed in strong and regional power. Biju, the entrepreneur. Biju, the modern king, Kharavela, who took Odisha to the world. Biju, the builder of modern Odisha. Biju, the freedom fighter from the beginning. It's a very rare mystic phenomena. It's a mystery about the man. What was he? He was an entrepreneur, he was a politician, he was a pilot, he was a negotiator, he was making coalitions all over the country, but nobody knew anything about him. Both in politics and real life, Biju Patnaik has lived life dangerously. This book describes the total absence of fear and defining trait of Biju Patnaik. During the Nazi occupation of Russia, he would flee weapons and supplies to Stalingrad for the besieged Red Army, which is a fact which is not known to many of us. During the Japanese occupation of Burma, he flew out of stranded officers and civilians out of Rangoon under dangerous conditions. But he took no nonsense from anyone. He took no nonsense from anyone, including many people I know. I can't disclose the names even now, because I am witness to certain discussions which he had various people in Delhi in one of the rooms when the Prime Minister of countries were being selected, and the kind of language he used against them. That will be part of my next book. I will write about it. Once Biju overheard a British official making a derogatory statement about the skill of Indian pilots, because he was himself a pilot. He landed the plane promptly, left him on the road to walk rest of his way. After Biju rescued the Prime Minister of Indonesia from the Dutch, he was presented 100-acre estate in Palembang, once the seat of Kalinga Empire. Biju returned it and jokingly said, "The king of Kalinga does not accept gifts from his subjects." Though he helped the British against the enemies during the World War II, he too was an active participant in freedom movement. He was jailed in Lahore for anti-colonial efforts and flying independence leaders like Ram Manohar Lohia and Anna Asaf to various covert destinations. We will talk about we went to jail. Biju Patnaik, nobody talks about him, that he was the first person who went to jail before India got independence. He was the first freedom fighter, which nobody talks about it. He was a true patriot with a global outlook. He was a nationalist to the heart as well. When Pakistan invaded Kashmir in 1947, Nehru asked in despair, "Is Kashmir lost for all of us?" The young Biju Babu said with pride, "No, I will land there." He flew Indian soldiers to Kashmir, thus saving it from being lost forever. We should be grateful to him that we have got Kashmir, because Biju Patnaik to the list of landing 17 soldiers in Kashmir. Later on, in 1996, he was so nationalist that anybody who was interested in national affairs, he would pounce on them. In 1996, when he read a headline in a newspaper in Delhi, which said, "Free and fair polls in Kashmir necessary, Wisner." Read the headline. Frank Wisner was the US ambassador to India then. An infuriated Biju Patnaik called him and told him, "What? Who are you to interfere and mess with our internal affairs? Keep quiet, otherwise you so take it." And Vezner never spoke about Kashmir after that. The book gives information about Biju Babu that's not really available outside. For example, it was he who advised Nehru to start an anti-Chinese guerrilla force in Tibet in 1992 and flew in and out of Tibet in dangerous conditions. Nobody think about that time. Though India was his mission, Odisha was his soul. He built independent India's first port at Paradip. If I have read history somewhere, when he started the port, he said that should be the only because Odisha is such a state where we can use the port for economic development. Central government under Nehru at that time was little reluctant to give the money. Biju said, "Hell with them. I'll build the port with my own money, with my own government." And he spent 1.6 billion rupees to start the port, and Nehru later on conceded the money and gave it back and came for an inauguration as well. He created airports, schools and colleges, universities, highways and power stations. People talk about him. He was the first chief minister who thought of modern concept of development. He believed in gender equality and rural development, which is the fashionable word these days. Everybody talks about gender development. Biju spoke about gender development then. He instituted the Odisha State Commission for Women and Mahila Vikas Sambhaya Nigam for women entrepreneurs. As an entrepreneur, he started Kalinga Airlines. Everybody remembers Tata for starting Tata Airlines that time. But Biju was the first person who thought of an airline and started Kalinga Airlines. He was the first person to think of such things at that time. He also had a sense of humor. Never failed him, even in difficult times. In 1993, thousands of striking employees went on the rampage inside the Odisha Secretariat in Bhubaneswar, destroying property, roughing up senior officials, and throwing stones. I told these stupid chaps, said Biju Patnaik, "At least you should have learned your cricket. You can't even bowl properly." That he laughed at, and the strike was called off later on. But there are many stories about Biju's love for common man and his acceptability. It was said that he would get off his convoy and jump onto the pillions of passing motorcyclists or take a cycle rickshaw ride. Biju Babu's political contribution to democracy is unparalleled. Many eminent leaders and historians have said that the Comrade Plan was Nehru's idea, but conceived by Biju Patnaik actually. This is nothing else. This is written by Indira Gandhi herself. Indira Gandhi, in her book titled My Truth, wrote, quote, "It seems Mr. Kamraj and Sanjay Reddy met Tirupati and talked about it. Biju Patnaik just happened to be there because he was a tall man, he could hear everything. Biju Patnaik happened to be there. He overhauled all of this and dashed to Pahalgam, where I was holidaying with Rajiv and Sanjay. As my father was resting after lunch, I went to the garden and sat with Mr. Patnaik, who put this proposal to me," unquote. Historical and political irony about Biju seems to be very fascinating to all of us. Nehru sent Biju Patnaik to Kashmir for India's freedom. Indira Gandhi put him to jail and took away his freedom. He called her affectionately Hindu. He was in Rohtak jail. I think Mr. Arni was there also, but he was in Bangalore earlier. Biju Babu was one of the architects of Janata Party. I remember when meetings were happening in Bangalore, Mr. Devagowda is here, he was a witness in one of the hotel. Biju Patnaik and VP Singh had a very hot discussion, which is again reflects the personality of the man. Ultimately, Biju's views prevailed over VP Singh and not VP Singh himself. Biju Babu was one of the architects of Janata Party. The king who was the kingmaker wasn't she, he was the kingmaker. Because VP Singh how became the prime minister. There are many people who dispute that theory because in Haryana one meeting was held where I was also present. Biju was also, people think that he should become the prime minister, but he was very confident that only Mr.